Hello students, in the present video lecture, we'll discuss about data rate limits. A very important consideration in data communication is how fast we can transmit the data. So always while sending the data, we can use the unit as bits per second. How many bits we can transmit per second. So that decides the actual performance of the entire communication system. So we can say that the data rate limits in terms of bits per second will be depending upon the first one is the bandwidth of the channel. The first parameter is bandwidth of the channel. The second factor is signal level. Third factor is channel capacity, channel quality or capacity. So that is level of noise. So these are the three factors which decides the actual performance of the data communication in terms of bits per second. That means the data rate depends on bandwidth of the channel, signal level and channel quality, that means the level of noise. The channel type may be either noiseless channel or noisy channel. So we can have two classifications under channel as noiseless channel, noiseless or noisy channel. The channel may be either noiseless or noisy channel. So for noiseless channel, so we can use Nyquist equation to compute the bit rate. For noiseless channel, the Nyquist bit rate formula defines the theoretical maximum bit rate. So that means the number of bits that can be transmitted per second. So the formula we can write as maximum bit rate or bit rate, that is equal to 2 times the bandwidth into log 2 to the base of n, where BW is equal to bandwidth, BW is equal to bandwidth at channel and L is equal to number of signal levels used to represent the data. So we can have a general equation for noiseless channel to compute the maximum bit rate as 2 times bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of L, where L is equal to number of levels or signal levels used to represent the data. Consider a noiseless channel with a bandwidth of 3000 Hz transmitting a signal with 2 signal levels. So we need to compute the maximum bit rate as bit rate is equal to bit rate equal to 2 times the bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of n. So in this problem the bandwidth is given as 3000 Hz and L is equal to 2. So directly we can substitute over here 2 into 3000 into log 2 to the base 2 of 2. So we'll get the answer as 6000 bps or else 6 kilobits per second. So similarly, we can consider same noiseless channel transmitting a signal with 4 signal levels. So that means L is equal to 4. So similarly, we can compute bit rate, that is equal to 2 into 3000 into log 2 to the base 2 of 4. So we get the answer as 12,000 bits per second as bit rate. So that means 12 kilobits per second. So we'll take one more problem. We need to send 265 kilobits per second over a noiseless channel with a bandwidth of 20 kilohertz. How many signal levels do we need? So that means, we need to compute L. So we are having the equation bitrate is equal to 2 times bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of L. So in this case bitrate is given, so that is 265 into 10 raised to 3, that is equal to 2 into 20 into 10 raised to 3, that is 20 kilohertz into log 2 to the base 2 of L. So on simplification, we will get log 2 to the base 2 of L is equal to 6.625. So therefore, L or number of signal levels, that is equal to L is equal to 2 to the power 6.625. That means 98.7 levels. Since this result is not a power of 2, we need to increase the number of signal levels, or we need to decrease the number of signal levels as per the bit rate. So if we have 128 levels, the bit rate will be, if we are having 128 levels, that is L is equal to 128. So therefore bit rate will be, bit rate is equal to 280 kilobits per second. So if we have 64 levels, L is equal to 64, then bit rate is equal to 2 power 60, bit rate is equal to 240 kilobits per second. So either we can consider, since the value whatever we got, the result is not in terms of power of 2. So either we have to go for bit rate as 240 kilobits per second or 280 kilobits per second with the value of L is equal to 64 or L is equal to 128. Next we will take noisy channel. For that we can compute Shannon's capacity. So in order to determine the theoretical highest data rate for a noisy channel, so we can make use of the Shannon's capacity equation as capacity is equal to bandwidth into log to the base 2 of 1 plus SNR. So in this formula, the bandwidth is nothing but the bandwidth of the channel itself, and SNR, that means signal to noise ratio. SNR is equal to signal to noise ratio, and the capacity is the capacity of the channel in terms of bits per second. So we can compute the capacity of the channel in terms of bits per second. Consider an extremely noisy channel in which the value of the signal to noise ratio is almost 0. In other words, the noise is so strong that the signal is faint. So now we have to compute the channel capacity. The channel capacity can be computed using Shannon capacity equation, where capacity is equal to Shannon capacity of the channel is equal to bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus SNR. So that is signal to noise ratio. So here we can substitute the bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus signal to noise ratio is given it as 0. So that is equal to B, that is bandwidth, log 2 to the base 2 of 1. So that is equal to B into 0, that is equal to 0. So that means the capacity of this kind of channel is 0 regardless of the bandwidth. In other words, we can say that we cannot receive any data through this channel. So we cannot receive any data through this kind of channel. So we'll take one more problem. A telephone line normally has a bandwidth of 300 Hz assigned for data communications. The signal to noise ratio is given as 3162. So we have to compute the channel capacity. So we know that the channel capacity can be computed as C is equal to bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus SNR. The value of SNR is directly given and bandwidth is also given. So we can just substitute the values over here. So 3000 into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus 3162. So that is equal to 3000 into, on simplification, log 2 to the base 2 of 3163, that is equal to 11.62. So and final answer is 34,860 bits per second. So this is the answer. So similarly we'll take one more problem. The signal to noise ratio is often given in terms of decibel. Assume that SNR dB is equal to 36 and the channel bandwidth is 2 MHz. So we have to compute the value of C now. So SNR dB, SNR in terms of dB, that is equal to 10 log to the base 10 of SNR. So now SNR dB is given, so that is 36, that is equal to 10 log to the base 10 of SNR. So therefore SNR is equal to 36 divided by 10, that is 3.6. So 3.6 is equal to log 2 to the base 10 of SNR. So we have to compute SNR, that is equal to 10 raised to 3.6, that is 36 by 10, that is equal to 3981. So now the same value of SNR we can substitute in the Shannon's capacity equation, that is C is equal to bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus SNR. So that is equal to, bandwidth is directly given, that is 2 into 10 raised to 6, that is mega, into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus 3981. So on simplification we will get the value as 24 megabits per second. using both limits. In practice, we need to use both methods to find the limits, that is upper limit as well as lower limit, and signal levels. So we can consider this by using one problem. So the problem is given as we have a channel with a 1 megahertz bandwidth. The SNR for this channel is 63. What are the appropriate bit rate and signal level? So we have to use both the formulas like Shannon capacity equation and Nyquist formula to compute the upper limit as well as in order to compute the number of signal levels L. So first we can compute the channel capacity using Shannon's equation. So we know that the Shannon capacity equation C is equal to bandwidth B into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus SNR. So that is equal to bandwidth is 1 megahertz into log 2 to the base 2 of 1 plus 63, that is equal to 1 into 10 raised to 6 into log 2 to the base 2 of 64. So that is equal to 6 megabits per second. But for better performance, we can choose the bit the capacity C is equal to 4 megabits per second. So with respect to C is equal to 4 megabits per second, so we can compute the signal level L. So signal level L can be computed, we know the equation as bit rate, that is Nyquist formula, bit rate, that is equal to 2 into bandwidth into log 2 to the base 2 of L. So we considered, for better performance, we consider C is equal to 4 megabits per second, that is equal to 2 times 1 into 10 raised to 6 into log 2 to the base 2 of L. So on simplification, we will get the value of L is equal to 4. So therefore, we can use the Shannon capacity in order to identify the upper limit, and we can use the Nyquist formula to compute the signal level L. So as of now, we discussed the tools of transmitting the data, that means the signals over the network, and how exactly the data can behave over the network. So we have to consider one more major factor as performance of the network, that means how good is it. So how the network behaves, and what exactly the performance of the network. So we can consider some set of quality of services, so in order to decide the performance of the network. So first we can consider the bandwidth. So bandwidth may be the one characteristics that measures the network performance. So we can measure the bandwidth in terms of hertz, or the bandwidth can be measured in terms of bits per second. So if you are measuring the bandwidth in terms of hertz, so it will be in the range of frequencies contained in a composite signal. So bandwidth, if you are measuring in terms of hertz or considering in terms of hertz, that means, so we need to have range of frequencies, some set of frequencies or range of frequencies, so containing in a composite signal, and that signal will have the range of frequencies over the channel. So similarly, we can compute the bandwidth in terms of bits per second. So that means the term bandwidth can be computed in terms of bits per second. That means a link or a channel or any network that can transmit the bits per second. How many bits can be transmitted per second? So with respect to that, we can have the term bandwidth. That means the bandwidth in bits per second. So we can have one more parameter called as throughput. So the throughput is a measure of how fast we can actually send the data through the network. That means how quickly we can transmit the data. For example, we may have a link with a bandwidth of 1 megabits per second, but the devices connected to the end of the link may handle only 200 kilobits per second. So this means that we cannot send more than 200 kilobits per second through this link. So throughput is nothing but how fast we can transmit the data. Suppose if you are having one network in which the link can handle only 200 kilobits per second, but the bandwidth is 1 megabits per second. We cannot transmit more than 200 kilobits per second. This means that we cannot send more than 200 kilobits per second through this channel, because the channel capacity is only 200 kilobits per second. We'll take one problem. A network with bandwidth of 10 megabits per second can pass only an average of 12,000 frames per minute, with each frame carrying an average of 10,000 bits. So what is the throughput of this network? So we can compute the throughput of this kind of network as throughput is equal to so we are having 12,000 frames, total number of frames as 12,000. Each frame carrying, individual frame carrying 10,000 bits. Individual frame carries 10,000 bits divided by 60. So that means 2 megabits per second, because the 12,000 frames are given in terms of minutes. 12,000 frames per minute is given. So we have to compute throughput in terms of bits per second. So that means 12,000 frames into 10,000 bits divided by 60. So next we'll take latency. So latency is nothing but delay, which can be defined as how long it takes for an entire message to completely arrive at the destination from the time the first bit is sent out from the source. So latency is nothing but delay itself. So we can define the latency as the time taken by a message in order to reach completely at the destination from the time the first bit is sent from the source. So the latency is made up of major 4 components, like the first one is propagation time, the second one is transmission time, third one is queuing time and processing delay. So therefore we can compute the latency as propagation time plus the transmission time plus queuing time plus processing delay. So next we will take propagation time. So we can compute the propagation time by considering the distance as well as propagation speed. So we can define the propagation time as the time measured for a bit to travel from source to the destination. Propagation time is nothing but the time required for a bit in order to travel from source node to the destination node. So we can have the equation for propagation time as propagation time is equal to distance divided by propagation speed. Propagation speed. So we'll take one problem where the distance and propagation speed is directly mentioned. So we can compute the propagation time that is equal to distance divided by propagation speed. So distance is given as 12,000 kilometer, that is 12,000 into 1000, 10,000 divided by distance. Propagation speed is 2.4 into 10 raised to 8. 10 raised to 8 milliseconds. So we'll get the propagation time as 50 milliseconds. So next we'll take transmission time. So in the data communication, we are not just sending the data in terms of bits. So instead of that, we can send the entire message or groups of messages in the given instant. In such situations, what happens is the first bit may take a time equal to the propagation time in order to reach the respective destination. The last bit may also take the same propagation time to reach the destination. In some cases, what happens is so there is a time between the first bit leaving the sender and the last bit is arriving at the destination. So the first bit leaves earlier and arrives earlier, but the last bit leaves later, but as well as the arrives later. So I can say that suppose if we are having one message, so it consisting of around 4 bits, for example. So I can say that this is bit 1, bit 2, bit 3 and bit 4. So bit 1 is transmitted first and it will be received first at the destination. Similarly, the last bit, that is 4th bit, which is transmitted later and it will arrive later. So the transmission time of a message, which will be depending upon the size of the message. So the transmission time, it will be always depending upon the size of the message. Size of the message. And the bandwidth of the channel along with the size of the message. So we can also consider bandwidth of the channel. So the transmission time we can compute as transmission time is equal to message size divided by bandwidth. So this is the equation to compute the transmission time. So we'll take one problem. What are the propagation time and transmission time for a 2.5 kilobyte message if the bandwidth of the network is 1 gigabits per second? Assume that the distance between the sender and the receiver is 12,000 kilometer and the light travels at 2.4 into 10 raised to 8 millimeter per second. So first we have to compute the propagation time. First we can compute the propagation time, that is equal to propagation time we can compute as distance divided by propagation speed. So here the distance is 12,000, which is given in terms of kilometer, so into 10,000 divided by 2.4 into 10 raised to 8. So we'll get the propagation time as 50 milliseconds. So next we have to compute the transmission time. Transmission time, that is equal to message size divided by bandwidth. So message size is given as 2.5 kilobytes. So that is 2500 into, so we have to convert into bits. That means 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So divided by the bandwidth is 1 giga. Bandwidth is 1 giga. So that is equal to 2500 into 8 divided by 1 into 10 raised to 9. So we'll get the value as 0.020 milliseconds. So the last component in latency is queuing time. So queuing time is the time needed for each intermediate or end device to hold the message before it can be processed. So queuing time is a time which is needed by any intermediate device or end device in order to hold the message before it can be processed. The queuing time is not a fixed factor, it changes with the load imposed on the network. So I cannot say that queuing time is fixed one, because it will be it may change with the load which is projecting on the network. When there is a heavy traffic on the network, the queuing time obviously it will increases. And an intermediate device can be considered as router. The intermediate device may be considered as a router or any switch, and the packets or messages will be arrived and it can be processed through the intermediate device one after the other. If there are many messages, each message will have to wait. So in the intermediate device, through the intermediate device, while transmitting the message, if you are having many number of messages, the messages need to wait in the intermediate devices. So in general, we can say that queuing time is the intermediate time needed to the device, or the device may be the either intermediate device or end device, to hold the message completely before it can be processed. So another performance issue that is related to delay is jitter. So we can consider the jitter is a problem if different packets of the data has different delays, and the application using the data at the receiver side is time sensitive. So such kind of problem arise with the suppose if you are transmitting audio and video data. For example, if you are having 3 packets and the delay for the first packet is P1 is 20 millisecond, P2 is 40 millisecond and P3 is 45 milliseconds. In such cases, and the application is case sensitive, then the real-time application that uses P1, P2, P3, obviously it will cause a jitter.